Hey everybody, Z Garcia here. Today I'm taking a look at the new expansion to Imhotep. This is a new dynasty. In this expansion, you are going to get 5 new double-sided boards, just like there were in the original game. And you had a side A and side B in the original. You can mix and match, play whatever game you wanted. Well, now you've got sides C and D, and you can throw those in there and play however you want, whatever combination you like. There's also a small variant in here, but largely, you know kind of what you're getting. You're going to have new ways of acquiring victory points, of delivering stones and getting something out of them. There's also a few new cards that are going to be included in the player's deck, and that's pretty much it. So, let's cut to the board. I'm going to show you how these new boards work out. I'm not going to show you the original game, of course. If you want to know how to play Imhotep, go check out our video for that. But if you already are familiar with it, then let me show you what comes in here, and I'll see you on the other side of that. Here's everything that comes in the expansion. You are going to get 5 new boards, double-sided with sides C and D. Now you are going to get new cards to get shuffled in. This that works with one of these boards, and you are going to get this variant here with specific god cards, as well as a few tokens up here, and a few other tokens, cardboard punch-out tokens, that help you get some of these boards completed. Alright, so let me briefly show you a couple of these boards. Mark it over here, you lay out 4 cards twice in the game. When you grab cards, you can spend one of these, and then take 2 adjacent cards. On the other side, you are simply going to have 2 face up, and then stacks of face down cards. For the burial chamber here, you are going to build up stones from the bottom up in a pyramid shape, and you are going to score the number of connected stones times the number of levels. On the other side, you are going to, when you deploy stones here, grab one of these tiles, and that's the place where you put the stone. So if you take, for example, the 13, you then build your stone right there on the 13. You're trying to get a connected group there as well. For the pyramid building here, you have the scaffold. You are going to play one of these here. The stones are deployed, moving over across. You get points or stones from the quarry or cards. Once this is filled, you get a bonus for having the most, and you then play another scaffold on top of that, and then another one on top of that, so you're building these up off with stones between them. On the other side, you're going to have a piece that denotes where you start from, and every time you deliver a stone, you take over the next spot, and you get that many victory points. However, it is possible sometimes in the game to take that character and jump them over to the next empty spot, therefore skipping one place and having the next stone go after that pawn. So, you have a little manipulation there. Next up we have the temple. Here the temple is going to, you only build 3 across, you build over and over and over 3, and every time you score at the end of the round, you look from on top, and whichever one's on top, you get a bonus. Either draw 3 cards, keep 1, or get 2 points, or draw some stones. On the other side, you have a race, a chariot race. This one uses these little chariot pieces. Every time you deliver a stone, you move that many spaces ahead. There's a number of arrows there. And then at the end of every round, if you're ahead, you get a couple of points. If you're second, you get 1 point. And also at the end of the game, you are going to get a number of bonus points equal to where you ended up in the race. So if I'm still there, 7 points at the end of the whole thing. Next up, we've got here the obelisk. You are going to be building this one here, the grid obelisk, and you are going to, as you place stones here, you gather the matching pieces, you build them up on your little provided card there, and you're going to score bonus points equal to every line across that you complete. That's pretty much it on that side. And then on the other side, you are building up columns, but you have to decide which one you're going to start working on before you, move on to another one. And you have to finish one before you move on to another one. If you complete it, you get a bunch of points. If you don't, you only get 1 point per stone. So if I start on this one, I get all the way up to 4, which is what it requires. 10 points for that. But if I don't, I only get 1 point per stone, and I cannot be working on another one at the same time. That's it for the boards. Last thing I want to show you is these god cards here. This is for a variant you may choose to play with. You shuffle up the deck, flip over 3, and then every player is going to have 2 of these scarab tokens, and you can, throughout the game, put out a gamble, a bet, that you think you'll accomplish that, whatever the card requires of you. So this one, for example, says at least 4 statue cards, purple cards. If you think you will have that, and if you want to take that gamble during the first or second round, you would do this right here. Now, other players can still play there. That's fine. But what this says is if you indeed accomplish that, you're going to get 7 victory points at the end of the game. If you don't do it, you lose 3. Now, if you do it later on in round 3 or 4, you only gain 7, but you only gain 5, but you only lose 2. And then during the 5th or 6th round, you only gain 3, but you only lose 1 as well. So high risk, high reward for all of these, and that is the variant. Well, that is a new dynasty, so let's talk about it. I do want to say before I even start, this is pretty much what the expansion to this game needed to be. More boards, more cards. It's a pretty straightforward, kind of obvious idea, but this is still what it was likely to need to be. So, Thematic Ties, is it original? Does it fit well with the original game? I think it does. Again, not a big stretch here. The only thing that I think is a little bit weird thematically is one of the boards, the Chariot Race one. It's a little bit strange. Not sure how they tie that one in there thematically, but there you go. The aesthetics, component quality, artwork, all of that is great. Everything fits with the original game. Everything looks good, bright, well done, well laid out. Replayability. Does the game give you a nice amount of new things to discover from the original game? And I think it does. I mean, you could technically say this about doubles the content of the original game. You have twice as many locations. You now have so many combinations that you couldn't possibly play every permutation of the setup of the game. So yes, absolutely. Lots here to add replayability to your base game, and there's even that little variant with the gods, which is neat. I do like that. It's just a little something, but you can certainly feel free to throw it in to spice things up. Maybe not every game, but every now and then. Game length. Does it change the original game, and does it stay interesting the whole time? It does not change really what you were doing in the original. The original game was always a very short game. As it says on the box, 40 minutes. I think that's about right. And this one certainly does not change that formula much at all, even though some of the new locations are a little bit more complicated than in the original box. It's still very easy to resolve those locations, so you're not looking at too much, any extra time investment. Ease of play, fiddly, extraneous rules, anything like that. Except for a couple of the locations that I find are, a little bit fiddly. And again, I come back to that, the one with the Chariot Race. There's a couple of them that are a little fiddly, but for the most part, these are great boards. They all make sense for the most part. They're all well implemented. They're all fun to play with. You kind of want to try them all at once, So that's good. And then lastly, tactics and strategy, luck, things like that. I love the infusion here of new things to consider. One of my favorite ones, which is not much of a difference, but it is one of my favorites, is the board where you get the cards. And you can now get 2 of those cards. Twice in the game only, but you get 2 of them. I love that. It injects more cards into the game. You have more cool powers, more things to do. That's fantastic, And the other ones, the one where you are basically playing bingo, to connect your grouping. That one's fantastic as well. You've got the one where you're building up, with the Tetris pieces, you're building up your tower. Those are all really neat. They give you something else to play with, new bits to arrange and enjoy. So that's great, and I really like all of those things. Tactically fun, engaging stuff. So overall, I think this is a good expansion. As I said, this is sort of the obvious expansion. Not to say that it designs itself. I couldn't come up with this stuff, and so the new locations, new cards, new variant, all of that is very nice, but I'm glad that it is what it is. It is just more of what you liked. Here you go. Keep the game fresh and keep it on your gaming table. So this is good stuff. I'm going to give this one a seal of approval. I would recommend it, especially if you're a fan of Imhotep, and if you found it getting a little bit stale for you, definitely pick up a new Dynasty, because I think it's going to revitalize the game for your gaming group. That's it for me. I'm Z Garcia. I'm going to see you on the next one.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com.